the Shabbos?
Recording in progress.
He does a Zoom, and what's the Shabbos and Sunday? So, but he'll always do like the next day's dance.
Right. Well, and what's the Shabbos? He does.
He's usually about a day ahead. He only does like 3-4 a week, and the rest of them he just takes from 7.5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, but that's why you really have to leave off the right spots. You must go back and see.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. So. All right, who's on? Avrami. All right. Let's just wait for Randy one more minute. I'll try and go into fast mode.
You can go ahead. I'm on my way.
All right. So we wait one more minute. One more guys. Randy's here.
Mark is still in Israel.
Yeah, Mark in Israel. Yeah. So Mark is usually on time. Alan's always 5 minutes late. This is getting recorded so everyone can see. You guys say Eddie will come. You got the place lemon on the bottom over there?
Lamed Aleph.
Yeah.
So the Tanya Mihachi is going on this idea that when something's a little out of the ordinary, you wait 3 days or there's a time period.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Let's start. So Zaktimar at the bottom of the Lamed Amud Beis Tani Namihachi. So similarly, we learned in the Brisa. Motza talis the cardum basratia. So a person finds a garment or an axe, out in the public area. And a cow running amongst the vineyards. Hare zu aveda. This is considered to be lost. It's not a normal place for an owner to go ahead and leave it. Therefore, it's assumed to be lost, and one is obligated for a Shabbos aveda. Talis, however, talis is together because it's together. But let's say a garment is, let's say, put like in the backs behind the fence, or an axe there, or you have a cow that's grazing amongst. I assume he's going to change it to derech. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it does.
The garage.
Yeah. So he amongst the grass over there, because it doesn't really get into it. That's not considered to be aveda. However, if it's Gimel Yom Zeh, but 3 days in a row, then something fishy is going on. Probably not. That's abnormal. Harezu aveda. Now, if you see water that's, let's say, overflowing and it's coming towards a field, harezu gather b'fneim. Go ahead and quickly. Hashavas aveda means you returning a lost object, right? A lost object, something is destroyed. Basically, we'll go now with the a penny saved is a penny earned. In other words, that's how you're earning your penny, by saving it. So I'm saving your field by blocking off this water that's about to destroy your field. So a person should go ahead and fence up or block off the water in order to save the guy's field. Just like when you pick up an item, you're saving the item. And Amar Rava, so says Rava. Look at the pasuk. The pasuk says l'chol aveda sachicha, right? It mentions objects, then it uses general term of l'chol. Right, all avedas achicha. So what does that come to include? L'rabes avedas karka, to include even saving one's land. And Amalei Rav Chanina l'Rava Satanya Masadacha. I got a perfect price to support you. The one we just read. Ra Ma'im Sheshayfin Bayim Hareza Gather. If a person sees water coming towards a field, we're on top of Lamed Aleph and Mud Aleph, then you go ahead and you have to fence it off. That's Hashavas Karka. Arvedas Karka. So I'm like, you want to say that? That's not a proof. Why? Because I can deflect it. But the Ika Oimrim, maybe over there's stalks on the field, there's stalks lying on the field, and therefore the water's going to come and destroy those items. It's not destroying land, it's going to destroy items, right? So therefore that's how Shabbos Aveda, right? So the Gemara says, Ika Oimrim, what's the chiddush there? It says no, like tzricha the east, but the tzricha l'ara, maybe they're still connected to the ground. Let's say the right before the harvest, they still sort of need the ground, and therefore maybe it's sort of like the ground. Maybe since these stalks need the ground, therefore it's like ground. I don't have to save it, and therefore I can let the water overflow because the one is not obligated to go ahead and save land. So kamash b'lan, you got to save it for the stalks. In other words, so this is not necessarily a proof to save karka. Doesn't necessarily argue with it, but it once again it can be deflected as a proof. Fine. So we said in the Mishnah, now there's going to sort of be, there's four scenarios, right? There's two different issues going on with four scenarios. Now, one is the derech. We're going to see, I think it's called the derech. Yes, derech is going to be the road or the field or somewhere which is normal for animals to graze. Okay. Then there's bein hakramim, the vineyards. Vineyards are not normal for animals to graze out. They're not there. Now, another normal behavior is grazing, and an abnormal behavior is running. All right. So there's going to be two combinations. This four total, possibilities. Running it, we'll call it Derek will call it a field. So we'll call it running in a field, grazing in a field, running in a field, grazing in a vineyard, running in a vineyard. Now, Hagufakasha. So the Mishnah itself, if you want to be infer from the Mishnah, it seems to be contradictory. So Marit says over there, if you find an animal that's grazing out in the derech in the field, that's not considered aveda, says the Mishnah. But the other case is mashma roim b'derech. If it was grazing in the field, hutuloi havi aveda, it's not lost. Ha ratza b'derech. But if it was running in the field, or roya ben akramim, or was grazing in the vineyard, havi aveda, that would be considered to be lost. Run lamed aleph, hamad aleph, a third of the way down, still in the skinny lines. And then aim the seifa. Then take a look at the seifa. It says, "Kamer v'kelav hafuchim." If you have the donkey, and let's say it's saddle, whatever it is backwards, flipped around, right? Abnormal. Or para ratzav and akrama, where you have a cow running amongst the vineyards. Harezo aveda. So a cow running amongst the vineyards is an aveda. So it says ratzav and akramim who dihavi aveda. That's this considered lost. Ratzav b'derech. But if it was, let's say, it was running in a field, or roy ben akramim, or grazing in a kramim, ain't aveda. That's not the aveda. So it's the opposite implication of the ratio. Some Rabbaye, Yogid Olav Reo, right? In other words, the thunder says about it. Now, the thunder tells you, when the rain is coming. So too, I'll go ahead and enlighten and inform you also how to understand this. Satana Roya B'derech, Delay Havi Aveda. What did the Roya B'derech? No, that which it says it's grazing in the field. It doesn't just, that's not an Aveda. And so too, if it's grazing in a vineyard, it's also not an Aveda. And Tana writes in Akramim, the Havi Aveda, and says over there that if it's running amongst the vineyard, then it's an Aveda. But then the Ratza B'derech, so if it's running in the fields. So Mar says, Amalei Rava, so Yagi love Reo. I don't know if it's supposed to, enlighten us and tell us, Lisni Kalasa V'Kolshin Chamiraso. So do what is normal, say the less obvious case, and then we can have certainly the more chumatika case. How so? Lisni rotza b'derech. Say if it was running in the field, the havi aveda is considered to be aveda. The kol shekain, certainly I would know rotza ben akramim if it's running in an abnormal place like the vineyard. Or if lisni roya ben akramim says that if it's grazing in a vineyard which is not so common, nevertheless the loy havi aveda is not considered to be lost. The kol shekain, certainly if it's roya b'derech, certainly if it's grazing in a field, it's not lost. Salamarava, Ratza like cash. I'll say like this. The two cases of Ratza is not a cash when it was running. One of it is it's running away. If it's running away, then it's considered to be lost. The other one is running back towards the town, right? But back towards the owner, then it's not considered to be lost. And Roya Nami like cash, and also the two chilukim you can have also the case of where it was grazing is also not a contradiction. Kan bi'avedas gufa. One is talking about the item itself. In other words, the cow itself is, if it's running. So if it's grazing, then the cow itself is not considered to be lost. However, kamivedas karka. What it's talking about, the other one grazing, when it's called an aveda, i.e. in the kramim, because it's eating the fields. In other words, what's lost? The field is getting lost. The vineyards are getting lost by being eaten. So Gemara said, and therefore, kiktani raya b'derech lehavi aveda. Therefore, when it says it's grazing in the field, it's not considered aveda. Ha raya ben akram. But if it's in the kram in havi aveda, right? Because it'd be aveda's karka. That's referring to the field itself being lost. The kiktani ratza ben akram. It says when it's running amongst the vineyard, havi aveda. It's considered when it's running amongst the vineyards as a havi aveda. Mashma over there that if it was grazing amongst the vineyard loy havi aveda, that's why havi aveda is gufa. That's why havi aveda itself. And the ratza when it was running benekramim, so miskavia, when it's running amongst the vineyard, it can get damaged, right? It can get injured. and therefore it could be potentially lost. However, if it was only grazing, then it won't be injured, and therefore it's not, the animal is not going to get damaged. And once again, if the animal is going to get damaged, it's going to be lost for good. The roya ben akram. So I understand. Wait, slow down there. So if the animal was roya ben akram, if it was only grazing by the kramim, you say, oh, since it's grazing, the animal itself is not lost, and therefore you're not obligated, right? Not enzo avida. So nehidulei misach. Yes, in a chanami, it won't get injured, and therefore you don't have to go ahead and save the animal. However, typically mishum avedas karka, but it's on someone else's vineyard, and the vineyard is being lost, right? The vineyard is the aveda, and therefore you should really have to go ahead and step in. So the answer is b'dekusi. We're talking about it was owned by a kusi. Therefore, you don't have to go ahead and achicha, your brother, and it's not your brother. You don't have to go ahead and save his vineyard. So the says, typically mishum avedas gufa. Well, maybe the animal itself is subject to be lost. Why? Perhaps the guy who goes ahead and sees an animal eating up his vineyards, his vines, is going to go ahead and kill it. So it says no, biasu demasu. We're talking in a place where the standard is, you got one strike. As if you're on the field, I'm going to give you, if your animal's on my field, I'm going to give you a warning. Get your animal off my field. Next time, I'm going to go ahead and shoot it. So maybe he already went ahead and warned him. And therefore, now you got to go ahead and step in. And even if the animal's grazing the vineyard, it's considered to be lost. And one says, no. If it was actually warned of his hero and he didn't really pay attention, then it's considered to be somebody who's like throwing away his item, and therefore there is no obligation of Hashavas Aveda if the owner is, basically does not care about the item and he's the one basically, losing it knowingly. Fine. 2 dots. Zero, ubarka, v'chule. So animal runs away, he returns it, runs away, returns it. Mishnah says afilu arba 4 or 5 times. You still got to go ahead and return it. We're on the Lamed Aleph, Amud Aleph, 2 dots, second to last line of the medium lines. So Amarle Haumir Rabbanon the Rava, Seima Hashiv. So now we're going to darshan the words. It says Hashiv. Right, that's the first one over there. It says Hashib Taj. So he said. So he says Hashib Teshive. Right. So now the pasuk says the double lashon. So Hashib is kadazin. It should be 1 time. Teshive. Right. Return it should be trey zimne. In other words, there should only be a requirement of 2 times to return it. In other words, you lose it, I return it once. You lose it again, I return it twice. I don't have to go back, 4 or 5 times. So Amarle Hashiv afilu me'apamim. Eddie, got it. Eddie, sit down. Wait till he's.
We don't have the coffee makers today. Usually we have some coffee maker.
Yeah. All right. So he says, Hashev is afilu me'apamim. So no, the word Hashev really means 100 times. It's not learned from Hashev Teshivim 100 times, right? I know it's 2 times. It's not learned from the double lashon. Rather, the word Hashev even means 100 times. Mashma. Teshivim, however, it says Teshivim ainli el lebeso. We have to go ahead and return it to the guy's house. Like how let's say to his properties, his garden, or his ruins, minayin. Tamaloyma teshivim. That's what the second lashon is teshivim. We call mako. So the Gemara says, "Hey chidami, I understand." If the area where you're returning it is guarded, right? It's secure. Then that's obvious. I can return it to your guarded area, right? And need delay means if it's not guarded, why can I go ahead? I understand, but if I throw it in an area where it's just going to be taken again, so how is that considered to be returning? So the Gemara answers, no, Lielam Dimitra. Really, we're talking about a case where it is guarded. So what's the chiddush? Delay being and dies by them. You don't need the knowledge, the consent, right, or the awareness of the owners. Everything normally leads the owner's awareness. Except for Hashavas Aveda, Shatar Rivsa, Hashavas Harbe, because the Torah used the lashon of Teshivim, the double lashon comes to Teshivim to include returning an object even without telling him, as long as it's secure. If I throw it in your car and lock your car, it's considered to be returned.
Ah,
Now, because we just darshan these double lashon of hashef to shive, so now we're about to go ahead and learn like 10 other cases of double lashon, right? Double lashon, none necessarily have to do, or some do and some don't, of returning lost objects. So now let's see. The third wide line on Laman Alpha Manal. So it says Shalach to Shalach. It says over there, Lagabi Shiluch. Okay. So it says over there, so Ema Shalach Chad. So say you have to send the mother bird away once. Chad Zimna. And to Shalach, and it says send away Chazim 2 times. So only 2 times, but if the mother bird comes back after the second time, you should be done. Samalei Shalach. No, the word Shalach means Afilu Meyapam, even 100 times Mashma. To Shalach. Only if I don't need the bird, and therefore I send it away. However, the davar mitzvah menai. But let's say I need the mother bird, right? Let's say I need a carbon on mitzvah, right? I need a bird offering. So go ahead. Very convenient. Grab the egg, grab the mother, menai. Tamaloi to shalach mikol malkom. Even if it's a mitzvah, another mitzvah, nevertheless, you still got to send it away. Take the egg. So I'm really on the rough of I the ema hoichiach, giving a rebuke. It says chadazina one time to chiach trezina. You only got to give rebuke twice. The person after 2 times doesn't do it. There's no more hochiach tochiach as amisecha. So hochiach no. The word means afilu me'apam, even 100 times masha. So in tochiach was a double lashon come to teach you. Eli Allah harav the Talmud. It's only that the Rebbe to the Talmud. Talmud Rav, the Talmud could give to rebuke his Rebbe Menai. And Talmud Leimar hochiach tochiach mikol malkom double lashon. Now. Azov to Azov, this is going to be a pasuk we're going to be discussing a lot today. So the pasuk says over there, if I can find it, Kisira, I'm just reading from the pasuk on the side, Kisira Chomar Sonacha, right? When you see the donkey of your enemy, Raivet's Takas Maso, right, which is crouching underneath its package of Chidalta, Miazov, Loy Azov, Tazav Imot. It says over there, and you want to not help, nevertheless, you have to go ahead and help him. Right, Azov Tazo. So double lashon. So imo. Ainly elabal imo. I only know if the owner is there. Shein balav imo. Minayin. He's not there. Azov Tazo. Mikol malkom. Even the owner's not there. There's a double lashon. And then it says hakim sakim imo. It says over there, right? It says another pasuk says you should not go ahead and see the donkey of of your brother, right? Fall down and look away. Rather, go ahead and help him load it. Help him load his donkey. So hakim. Emo. So Ainli Elabalavi, my own of the owners with him. Shane Balavimo for the owners not with him. And how do I know that Tamalem says Hakim Mikol Malcolm double lashon, even if he's not there? Velamali Lemichta Prika, Velamali Lemichta Tina. Why do I need both psukim of unloading and or loading and or unloading and loading? So when it says Tzricha, you need both psukim. Why? Because if it just had the case of unloading, because the animal is suffering, right? V can also the chisan kis, and an animal could get damaged for good. Aval teida, but to load it up, the lav tzar b'alechaim, because but the animal's not under any pain, and there might not be any sort of loss or damage. Maybe I'd say you're putter from helping him load, and therefore you have to teach it. And if I would have just had the case of loading, I would have thought mishum the beschar. Because when you help load, you could ask for payment. About prika, but unloading the bechina, but that which is there's no payment. Amalo, maybe I'd say you don't have to go ahead and do it. Therefore, it's shricha.
Mashma from the pasuk that you can ask for payment.
So we'll soon. So we're going to see on the second blot about that. Right? Why that case applies? We'll get to that point. Well, Rabbi Shimon, I was just looking at the pasuk, but yeah, it's not much from the pasuk. Rabbi Shimon, but according to Rabbi Shimon, who argues, and we'll see later on, who says even te'ina bechinam, even in the case of loading, you can't go ahead and ask for money. So now over there, where's your kolshkin? So our answer, Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, the psukim are not too clear as if it's referring to loading or unloading, right? Even the case of loading could also be unloading. Therefore, since it's not clear, right? So therefore, if we only had one pasuk, I would have thought the one pasuk was talking about. In other words, yes, you can learn a kosher gain from loading to unloading. But if I only had one pasuk, right? I wouldn't have thought that was a case of loading and kosher gain unloading, so I know both cases. No, I would have just thought it was unloading, and therefore I never would have known loading. Therefore, I needed 2 psukim. So Gemara says now, so basically, as we pointed out before, preventing a loss is sort of like a form of Hashavas Aveda. So, so why do you have to have these two cases which are preventing loss of Aveda or Hashavas Aveda? It's like the same concept. So if you have these two cases, Sarah Damara Isa, Sarah Dida Isa, right? The owner is in pain. He's going to lose some of his wares. The animals in pain, right? Aveda, but a lost object, it's Sarah Damara Isa. In other words, yes, the owner lost it, he's in pain. However, Sarah Dida Lessa, but the object which is lost not in pain. Amalo maybe I would say you don't have to return it. If I know on Veda, I would say you have to go ahead and return the lost object. Why? Because the owner is not there. But in the other cases, all right. Gotta move. Right? But the other cases where the owner is there, he's standing next to the animal trying to unload or unload. So maybe I don't have to get involved. Therefore, you have to go ahead and get involved. Now, next case of double lashon masumas, right? Case of you got to go ahead and kill someone, let's say who murdered, you killed them the sayif. So it says most Masamakas. I know they can go ahead and give him a saif. So how do I know that if I can't go ahead and kill them in the normal way of the court with saif, he set him up, hold him down, right? Whatever it is, we get to it in Sanhedrin. But the guy runs away, and there's no way he's about to get in the get-up car. But you know what? I got a good shot. I can go ahead and shoot him with my gun. How do I know I could kill him that way? Everybody must be called Malcolm. Kill him anyway. And then it says, Hakazaka, so it says over there by an Irning Dakas, it says he had to destroy the entire city. So Eli Ella Bahaka, Hakshuva Bahen, it says over there, I only know with the sword. So Benai Shimi Atayochola, Misa Bahaka, Hakshuva Bahen, Shata Roshila, Misa Bechol, Haka, Shata Yochol. How do I know that if you can't kill him that way, much easier drop a carpet bomb, right? Go ahead and destroy it, take him out. Tamaloimer, Hakazaka, Mikol Makom, right? Anyway, you can go ahead and take out the double lush. And Hashev Tashiv, it says over there, what's it talking about? So it says over there, you take someone's pikadon, right, as a security, but it says over there, you got to return it to the guy when he needs it. So it says, over there, we're talking about a case of, let's say, when it's done through basin. However, how do, let's say you take it because you take a security, not through basin. How do they have to return it? It says you have to return it when he needs it. Mikol Malcolm. I will soon explain the cases. And Chavo Tichbol, and a very similar case over there. It says if you take his garment, right? Also, Eli, you have to return it. So Eli Ella Shemashkana B'Shus B'Shus. If you went ahead and took a B'Shus, Mashkana Shalo B'Shus Minad. However, you took a Shalo B'Shus. How do you have to go ahead and return it? Minayin Tamalay Chavo Tichbol Mikol Makom. Right? It says a double asham. So Gemara says, Vahani Tarti Kro Lamli. Why do you need two psukim? The same concept. No, one, let's say he needs his work clothes, it's his uniform. You take his uniform and you secure that for the loan that he owes you. So, but then you got to return it in the mornings for him to go out to work, and then you can take it in the evenings when he's done, in the weekday, and until he has to work next. And the other is right? He has his blankets, right? All of a sudden, the winter comes around, he needs his blanket, so you return it to him in the evenings, but you can go ahead and take it back in the morning. Regarding charity, it says, Pazach Tiftach, you go ahead and you open up your hand, say, I only know for the poor people of this city, but let's say another city, Pazach Tiftach, it says over there that double lash can be called up. So, and then it says, Patoch Tiftach, right? Whatever it is, a Pasuk, he Pazach Tiftach, yeah, Pasuk in the bottom. Thank you. So it says, and another Pasuk says, Nosa in Tite. Say Liela Matana Maruba, I know it's referred to large amounts. A wealthy guy, Atana Moetas also, but a small amount given the charity. I mean, maybe you're not, a poor person doesn't have so much money, it's not required. And then it says, Hanik Tanik, you got to go ahead, you got your Evad Ivri, 6 years are done. Thank you. Send him away with some party gifts. Say Liela Big Lolo, I only know. Let's say during his 6 years when he was at my house, I saw many blessings, right? We had some very good years, right, of income. However, but let's say I didn't have such good years. How do you know you still have to go ahead and send them away with gifts? It says, double lashon, even in not good years. I Eliezer ben Azariah Dalman Nisbarach Habayis Biglala Manikin Lo Nisbarach Habayis Biglala Emanikin. So, according to Eliezer ben Azariah, who says no, only for good years you send it with party gifts, but bad years you do not send them. So I Tanik Lamali, why do you have the double lashon of Tanik? It's like my answer is Torah Sometimes the Torah does use a double lashon, even though not necessarily to teach something. Just this is normal. The derech that that people speak.
Say that about everything. Anytime it says double option, you say that. And you don't have a good drasha.
That's what the Gemara did, and then it's going to do it one more time. So. Tavi 10. In other words, but you don't necessarily. The point is, you don't necessarily get cornered if you don't have a drasha. You can't say, "Oh, Kamash, Tiyufta and the Shita for not darshing this because he's otherwise why is it double lashon, right? It's just sort of a deflection, saying, you know what? Sometimes the Torah doesn't necessarily have to, it could be a double lashon. And there are times when everyone agrees that there's the double lashon. So it does indeed exist. So it says have tavitenu. So once again, that was the passage we had before. It was hey, is it?
Yeah, this is the mashka.
This is the this is by giving charity or no?
Is it the mashka?
The mashkon? Yes, it says. Where is this? Is the hay, right?
Yeah.
There's the pasuk. So it says basically you extend your hand to him, right? It could even be, let's say, a loan. You give a loan to somebody, right? You give him so ainly these parents. So I understand a person. Let's say he doesn't have any money and he doesn't want to, take free money. So you know what? Okay, it's not free. Here's a loan. Pay me back when you get the money. All good. They don't say these parties. So Amar Rachmana take like derech hava. So the Torah says, give it to him derech hava. However, Yeshlo, the guy has money, but he's mamish a little crazy. He doesn't want to go ahead and buy anything. He doesn't think he has enough money. He needs to save it. Then he writes these party, and he doesn't want to go ahead and take from the charity account, but he doesn't want to use his own money. So Menayin Tamalema Taviteno, we call Malcolm. Go ahead and give him a loan, and even if he, he's not going to, use it, or take and spend his own money, maybe he'll explain to his family members, hey, by the way, I'm giving you your dad money as a loan. I know he doesn't want to take it. I'm going to tell him the only way he'll take it is a gift. He doesn't really need my gift because he has money. So I'm going to give him money. I'm going to say it's a matana, but it's really a loan, and therefore, ultimately, when he passes on, this loan will be repaid. So therefore it says, so you're not forced to go ahead and give a loan and get involved. The guy the mice has. So lamali. So once again, Alan, it says the Torah here uses double lashon like lashon b'nei adam. Fine. Back to the case of our Mishnah. So our Mishnah says person goes ahead and retrieves lost object. He's on the clock. He could go ahead and make a condition. The guy, let's say he's a lawyer, right? As we discussed last time, lawyers build a bill $75 to $100 an hour. Very expensive. Our lawyers. So Levi is an attorney, right? Yeah. So he bills $100 an hour, right? So no, not you ever see Levi's work?
I dress like this.
Yeah, look how he's dressed. He doesn't even know how to tie. All right. So the guy says, "Hey, I can make $100 an hour. So why should I go ahead and be Meisha Veda? I'm going to lose it." So he says, "So you know what? We'll pay you." So the Mishnah says, "We'll pay you like a schar poel, right?" So let's see. In a seller. So the guy makes a seller an hour. So he can't say, "Hey, give me my full wages, my $100," right? Rather, we give him like a worker what it would cost. So the Gemara says, we pay him like there's another amount, right? We pay people to do nothing. That's like the minimum wage. In other words, on one hand, a person says needs to work. On the other hand, says, well, what would you charge, right? What would you charge to do this work, to hang up drywall or to paint? I would charge $10 an hour, let's just say, right? What would you charge to do nothing? Oh, well, I do need money, but I like doing nothing. Oh, I'll send you a card for $2, right? So we pay him like a schar bottle. So guys, my kapayal bottle. What does it mean a kapayal bottle? So I'm going to buy a kapayal bottle till oisa malacha de bottle mina. In other words, what a person would charge, and normally he makes $100 an hour as a lawyer, but we pay him. What would you basically do? To take the minimum in order to do nothing. Obviously, to bill $100, you got to do work, right? Over here, you're not doing work, so obviously you would take less than the $100. So that he sort of makes a condition with the basin. If he makes a condition with the basin that I want my full wages, then he can do that. But if he doesn't make the wages, then you only pay him like a like the schar. We say im yesham basin masna b'fnei. You can go ahead and make a condition. I want my full wages only with the basin. But if there's no basin, then he could say, adios. My money comes first. I'm not taking a loss for this guy's event. Now. Isser and Rav Safra Ovid Iska B'Adei. So Isser and Rav Safra, they had a business together. They're partners. Also, Rav Safra probably is. So Rav Safra needs to go ahead and liquefy and go ahead and sell his assets. So also Rav Safra Polyglay Belay dieted the Isser. He went ahead and divided the assets without the knowledge of Isser in front of two witnesses. So that's the Kamei the Rabba Bar Rav Huna. So of course, guess what happened? Isser was not so happy with the division. Not so fair. He complained to Rabbi Baravua. So he said, Amalei, Zil Icy. So he turned to Rav Safra. He says, okay, fine. He split it. So Zil Icy told the Palk the Kamaya, go bring me the three members of the Beis Din that you divided in front of in order to go ahead and take, half the assets. Inami. Or just top of the page. Trey Migut Plaza. Or maybe two of the three people, right? Go ahead and take two of the three people from the basin that you divided, or you know what? Just give me two witnesses that you did in front of the basin. So obviously he didn't. We said he didn't do it in front of the basin, he only did it in front of witnesses. Why do I have to do a basin? Why do I need to go ahead in front of a basin? Take a look at our Mishnah. Tanat. If there's a basin over there, then Master then he can go ahead and make a condition. Hey, basin, I'm going ahead and returning this lost object only in the condition that I get my full wages. So when you do that with the basin, then you need a basin for that. However, ain't sham basin. If there's no basin there, who does he go ahead and make a condition? Shalom code, then we say his is first, then he doesn't have to go ahead and retrieve it. So you see there clearly, if you want to go ahead and be able to take money from somebody else, you need a basin there. Similarly, me dummy. How you compare the two cases? But even based over there, you're trying to go ahead and take money from the owner of the object to go ahead and pay the person who's going to go ahead and return it. So therefore, the returner needs to go ahead and basically seize money from the owner of the object. Over here, I'm taking my own. I'm just taking my half. So therefore, I don't need a beis din to go ahead for me to go ahead and take my half. All I need is Gili Milsa Biamo, the betray sagili. It's only just people to witness it, and therefore I just need two witnesses. And Teda, and you should see this is true. Why? The time we learned in the Mishnah, Almana Macheres Shalom B'fnei Basin. A widow can go ahead and sell without the basin. In other words, she has a right to it, so she can go ahead and sell. For support without the without the consent of basin. So Amalei Abaye, so he says, no, that's not a good proof. Lav me tomorrow. Did we not explain that case to mean something else? It doesn't mean she doesn't. The almana, the widow, doesn't use a basin at all. What does that mean? Rather, Amar Rav Yosef, Rav Newman, Rav Nachman, almana ain't tzricha basin shalmunchin. It means she doesn't need an expert basin. About tzricha basin shahadiotos, but nevertheless, she does need a basin. So in other words, that's not a good proof because even in that case, right, she still needs a basin. She just didn't need a basin of mumchin. So therefore, it's not a good proof that you brought. Fine. Now Mishnah. Mishnah says, Mishnah is today's daf, Alamed Beis Manaf. So Mishnah says, sorry, matzah berefes ein chayiv ba. So if you go ahead and you find the animal, let's say in a barn, right, you're not chayiv ba b'shus harabim, but if you find the animal b'shus harabim, chayiv ba. B'im ha'isa b'beis hakfaros. If the animal is the basic first law, right? Then let's say the guy does not, the kohen does not become tummy for it, and imamar lo avi if he tummy. If let's say the father tells his son, who's a kohen, go ahead and be matame for me. Go ahead and go get that for me and become tummy. O shamar lo al tachzir, don't let return it. Lo yishmalo, right? You don't have to go ahead and listen to your father in such a case. Fine. Parak v'toin. Now we're going back to the cases of helping unload or load. So parak v'tayin afilu arba v'chavish parim v'chayiv. Even 4 or 5 times you're chayiv. The pasuk says azov tazov, double lashon. And halach v'yashav lo v'yamar. Yeah, but Right. Okay. Fine. It's just funny. It's completely different than the other brises we saw before. Yeah. Because, but even our Mishnah was different than the brises there before. Because our Mishnah would say Hashem Teshivim. The Mishnah, because the previous Mishnah said because the double ashram, but we really says Hashiv Zafil Me'apam. Right. So anyways, Azatazav. So Shnar Azatazav. So Halach v'Yashav Lo. The Amar. Let's say the owner says, "Oh, I know the Torah says they have to go ahead and help load it up. Oh no, you're not gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and sit down, play on my phone." So Halach v'Yashav Lo. Amar Hoiv Alech Mitzvah. You know, Tzeinecha Livrag Parek. You go ahead. You got to unload it. You know, I'll go over here, busy doing this. Potter should amar imo with him. In other words, I have to do it with him. But if the guy's not going to be willing to do it with me, the owner, then he can figure out how to do it himself. And however, if the guy said was an elderly, he couldn't do it.
That's what the Bryce said.
What?
He said, "In the elbow of emo." The Bryce.
Right. No, but I'm saying over here it says right? Yeah. So it says. If he was a zaken then he's a chayiv. There's a mitzvah in the Torah lifrak. Now it says mitzvah in the Torah lifrak of Allah liton. And then you have to go ahead and help unload it, but not necessarily load it if he's choler zaken. Now Shimon Amer af liton, even to go ahead and load it. If the guy is a zaken or chayla, and even if he's not emo, you still have to go ahead and do it. Says Rabbi Shimon. Yes, glili aimer. Imayalav yasel masui ein zakuglo. So he says over there that if the animal was really taking something that was more than it should have, then he's not forced to do it. Amar takas maso underneath its load. Masui shiacholama, but in other words, it has to be a normal load. If the guy completely overloaded it, then what do you get me involved? Fine. Zak the Gemara. So Amar Rav Refes Shamru knows this barn that we're talking about. We're talking about Eino Amasav, Eino B'Shemeres, right? In other words, it's not something that would cause the animal to run away. In other words, if you see animals in there, it's not going to go ahead and cause it to run away. But nonetheless, Eino B'Shemeres. It also doesn't protect it. In other words, it's sort of like no man's land. It's not it's not under duress while it's in there, because if something is under duress, then it's going to be an aveda momentarily. But it's also not something that is watching it. So it says einamas, right? Or it says you're not chayiv to go ahead and do it. It's not under duress. But the fact that to tell you, right, that you don't have to do anything. Obviously, it was no locked area. Then it would be fine. These if you think it actually is regarded so if you find an animal on the outside, right, you have to go ahead and bring it inside. So then you have to go ahead and if he finds it right over on the inside, they don't have to do it. Dealer fear that it was not already guarded, rather it was stam in the barn. It can get away, but it's not in the rest. It's not going to go ahead and get away yet. So therefore, I'm not chayiv to go ahead and get involved. And matzah berevas ein chayiv. If he finds ein chayiv, so Rabbi Yitzchak who medes teich l'tchum. This is within the. It was within the tchum. And if it was found within the tchum, then he doesn't have to go ahead and return it. Michlal the reshus harabim v'afilu abtech b'teich l'tchum nami chayiv. So you say over there, even in the case of the reshus harabim, that even in the tchum, he would also be chayiv to go ahead and return it. So you can ask the seifa. So let's go ahead and teach the seifa. It says b'shus harabim chayiv bo. It says that if it's in the shus harabim, then you are chayiv. Right? So Rabbi Yitzchak v'hu shemedes chutz tchum. They were talking about over there when he's standing outside the tchum michlal. So you can learn from over there the berefes afilu amedes chutz tchum nami eino chayiv. Even if it's outside the tchum, you're not chayiv. Randy, is there a way you can just throw me? No problem. Yeah, finish my problem.
Here, give me chocolate. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, full serve. Yeah. Shkaf. Fine. All right. 2 dots. The basic first lay this is the basic faros. He does have to go ahead and listen to it. Also, his father tells him to go there. He does not require to go ahead and do that. So basic first lay tabalah. So Tanra about it. So it says over there. You tell me. Shenamar ish imo v'aviv tiro. That's the Shabbos tishmar. Ani Hashem. It says over there, right? Your mother and your father you shall fear, and my Shabbos you shall guard. Ani Hashem. So kulcham chayiv v'chvaydi. All of you are chayiv in my Shabbos. You and your parents, and therefore, so they're some, they're below me, and you're below them. But if they tell you something against what I say, you don't have to listen to them. So Talmud the Kasser Rachman as Shabsai Tishmeru. Halav Hachi Havamina. I would have thought says right. I would have thought if those are the father of Yamai. So hi Ase v'hai Loisa Sevi Ase. Right. One is an Ase of listening to your parents, and the other one is both. Right. Kedoshim to you, and don't become tamei. So and it shouldn't be deicha both. So whereas is now Yitzchak. Thank you. So Yitzchak. So maybe I see since it's condition Amar and it says the Holland says Kaved Hashem Yehoincha, right? You should go ahead and honor Hashem from your property. So Hilkach like you should go ahead and listen to it. So maybe that even though maybe you think to your father in that way, Kamash Malon, you don't listen to your father in the case if it contradicts something from the Torah. So then we said mitzvah min Torah lifroik aval lo liton. So my aval lo liton. What does it mean? There's a mitzvah to go ahead and to unload it, but not to go ahead and unload it. So my aval lo liton. So ilay aval lo liton klal. So my masha prika, right? The chsiv azot tazavimo. Tina nami haksiv hakim takim imo. Right? Both of them. Why should it be any different? Both in loading and unload say you should go ahead and help, right? Ella, rather, mitzvah min Torah lifrog b'chinam. Rather, what's the difference? It means that there's a mitzvah min Torah lifrog b'chinam, right? To go ahead and unload, right, b'chinam for free. V'lo liton b'chinam, but not to go ahead and load for free. Ella b'schar. You can go ahead and demand money, right? And that's because that's why you have the other pasuk. And Rabbi Shimon Omer, af liton b'chinam. No, even to go ahead and loan, you have to go ahead and help out for free. And Tanina Loha. We actually have a brisa that goes out and teaches the Tan Rabban and says Priga Bechina Vatina Beskar.
Oh,
right. Well, the one by Prika does, right? So, but over there, in other words, the truth is, if it wasn't for money, right? Not according to Rabbi Shimon, if it wasn't for money, according to the other opinion, right? Then you just need, if both of them were for free, then all you need is one pasuk to say you got to help load for free, and kol shekain. You have to then you would have to unload for free. As we'll soon see, there's other aspects of Tzarech Chaim and other stuff included. So, but you have two psukim. So why do you have two psukim? So one is unloading is for free. Loading is for money. So that's why you have two psukim, because one is for money and the other one is not. But not according to Shimon. He says the other one is free. Right? And as we asked before, so I need two psukim. So he says, I don't know which one's which, so therefore you need two psukim. Right? You can't necessarily one, but both are bechina. So now, Rabbi Shimon Omer is but each one is free. So my time of the Rabbanan, what's the reason? So each of that's Shimon lichta rachman tina v'lei by prika. Just write tina, loading, and you don't write prika. I mean, I would know. Uma tina the less tzara b'chayim. By loading, there's no tzara b'chayim yet, right? The animal's not suffering yet because the object is on the ground. And the animal's not going to go ahead and break down because the animal, once again, is not under a load. So chayim never. Chayv to go ahead and load it. So prika to unload it. These space are by the chayv and chisor tis, but there is something the animal, and perhaps the animal could go ahead and get, ruined. Lo kol shekain. So they're not. Why tell you? Prika bechina v'tina b'skar. To tell you that unloading is for free and tina b'skar. I Rabbi Shimon my timer. So what does he say? Meshum d'loy b'sami kra, because he's not pashit. It's not certain for the psukim whether it's talking about loading or unloading. In Rabbanan, Amai lo Messiah Mikra. So why are they not conclusive? So he said, Havaksiv, Roivetz Tachas Maso. Hasam Kasiv, Noiflim Baderach. One case it says, underneath it's burden, right? Underneath it's packaged. So therefore, that means we're talking about unloading because it's underneath it, right? The other one just says Noiflim Baderach, right? It's on the ground. The Ramo Inu Vatino B'Archov Mash. In other words, that applies that both things are on the ground and it's not under the Rabbi Shimon Eiflim B'Derech. Inu, it says over there, what does it mean when it says it's falling on the road? So it says Inu Vatino Alayu Masha. Maybe it could mean that in other words, it's lying on the road. Why is it lying on the road? Because there's a package on it, right? The masui's on it. So in other words, that's what it means, and therefore both of them could be mashma that the masui, right, that which is carrying is still upon it. Omar Rava says Rava, Turn the page. Medivrei Shneim, from the words of both of Nilbad, Tsar Bali Chaim Deraisa. Let's go ahead and learn that Tsar Bali Chaim is a Midaraisa. And Rabbi Shimon is only saying because the pasuk is not mashma which way either one about Masai Mikra, but had it been clear which one was loading and which one was unloading, right? Darshina Kavachimer would have made a Kavachimer. La Mishum Tsar Bali Chaim Darshina. And I was Mishumai. Knows what was the reason why we would have said it because of we would have said because of Tsar Bali Chaim. So and therefore we see according to everybody, everyone would have had the Kavachimer of if I have to unload where there's no Tzar Bali Chaim, or load, right, where there's no Tzar Bali Chaim yet, certainly if there's Tzar Bali Chaim, I would have to go ahead and unload. So you see, everybody holds that Midoraisa recognizes Tzar Bali Chaim, right? It's not just, the hippopotamus, right? From the Marvelous Venus machine. It's not just from the song, Midoraisa. So the Gemara says, no. Maybe it's not. Maybe because the animal is about to break its leg because the package, it won't be able to carry anymore. The owner is going to be at a loss. The owner is not at a loss if the package is not loaded on yet. To loading, there's no chison keys, never is chayiv. So priga these chison keys, lo koshkin is obvious. So it says, what? The loading, there's no loss. In other words, the animal's on the side of the road, the package is on the side of the road, there's no loss there. But the Meshuke, right? In other words, he got to go ahead and get to what time the market opens. He misses the market, though he's Chison keys, right? Yeah, maybe the animal won't break down, but he's not going to be able to sell his wares. Or he's sitting on the side of the road, it's going to come bandits, right? You're talking Koma, the Ikabade. All right, bandits are going to come and steal whatever he has over there. And Taylor, you should know that Tzar Bali Chaim Deraisa, the Tani save there says Rabbi Yosef Glili Aimer, Imei Alav Yasser Masui, right? If it was more than it could carry, Ein Zakuk, he's not responsible. Go ahead and help it. Shemar Takas Maso, underneath its burden. So Masui Shiachol Amaybo, right? In other words, we're referring to a burden, a package that he normally can be able to stand with.
The owner's fault for putting too much on there.
Right, and therefore I don't need to go ahead and step in if he literally lost his on his own. It's like he set his house on fire. What do we got to do with me, right? So, all right. So what do you confer for this? So that's what Rabbi Yosef clearly says, right? So the Tanakama Saber Zokuklo. Now even the Tanakama, okay. Rabbi Yosef clearly says if he chose to overweight his animal, then that's on him. Mashma the Tanakama would say, and therefore you're potter. Mashma the Tanakama would say Saber Zokuklo. Nevertheless, I have to go ahead and jump in. My timer, what's the reason? Tzar Bali Chaim Deraisa. Is it not because it's Tzar Bali Chaim Deraisa that the Tanakama would argue with Rabbi Yosef Glili? So the Gemara says, Duma b'tachas maso pligi. Maybe just they're arguing on the lashon of tachas maso pligi. Rabbi Yosef said dashina tachas maso. Maso shiachol amud b'rabban and savi dashina tachas maso. Maybe any nechanami doesn't hold Tzar Bali Chaim, but it's a drasha, and therefore technically I'm putter because it's not considered to be a must. And take the Tzar Bali Chaim lav deraisa. Maybe I can give you a proof that you should know that Tzar Bali Chaim is not mideraisa. Why? The Tani Reisha says halach v'yashav lo. Right? If the owner went ahead, he sat down, he started playing on his phone, ate a candy bar, and he says v'amalo. And he sits down. He says, since you got an obligation to go ahead and unload my animal, go unload my animal. Why go ahead and enjoy watching my Netflix, right? So your putter should amar. The pasuk says imo. Now in other words, but it is deraisa if we care that the animal is in pain and suffering. Right, so there wasn't make a difference whether the owner is a jerk or not. Right, I gotta go ahead. The Torah says you shouldn't allow suffering to animals. So what do I care whether the owner was sitting there eating a candy bar watching Netflix? I got to go ahead and help the animal if it's right. So maybe, therefore, it's not deraisa.
Maybe you have to get paid for it though. He should be going with you. If he doesn't, maybe you have to get paid.
Oh, very good. So it says Leolam Tzar Bali Chaim deraisa. So it means tries to potter legamri. It means dilma potter b'chinam v'chayiv v'schar, just like Alan's saying. Maybe it means that yes, I don't have to do it for free anymore, but I have to do it because the animal. But on the demand payment, even for unloading. The Torah says When he's with you, I'm working them for free. However, you still have to go ahead and save the animal, but bischar. Well, the and therefore the is really midoraisa. So the Gemara says, "Lema Masai." Let's say behemoths of it is chavim metapel, but behemoths Yisrael. So let's say now this is machlekes whether it's Sabbath Chaim is deraisa or not. So let's say when it comes to the behemoth chavim, then you have to go ahead and help deal with it. And behemoths Yisrael, just like a behemoth Yisrael. So I have to go ahead and help an other kachavim's animal because animals, who cares, own Jewish owner or not Jewish owner. Eliyamart, it's lav deraisa, but it's not deraisa. My metabel commandments Yisrael. Why do you have to deal with the belonging to a goy? It's just an object of a guy versus the object of a Jew. So Gemara says, Eva. No, maybe because of Eva. Maybe there'll be animosity, right? If we don't help him. So therefore, you're obligated like the behemoth of a cover. And how can I mistaken? It says there, Im Haisa tuna yayin aser. If the animals with wine is aser, ein zakaglo. If it was aser wine, then you don't have to go ahead and unload it. So Iyamar to Bisham Alav deraisa, if it's not deraisa in the wine, because it's usher wine, which is on the animal, the forbidden wine is too heavy. Mishum Hachi and Zakalo, I don't have to do anything because it's Eliyamar to deraisa. But if he says deraisa, my in Zakalo, why would I have to, so I can't partake of the wine, but I still, the animals have the kind. So Chakamar. Right? To load it with the aser wine, then you're not forced to. So Tashba, come on, listen. Behemas avikavim umasu Yisrael. If the animal belongs to avikavim and the package belongs to Yisrael, and it says over there the chadalta. It says over there, then you can go ahead and turn away. So over there, if you talk about the case of when it's deraisa, right? Why should you be able to go ahead and turn away? So also tazav miboile, right? So it's you have to go ahead and help it to know if it's deraisa, right? Rather you'd say that's not. So the elam tabelchaim deraisa and hasam betina over there we're referring to loading it. So what's the hachi aim? Look at the same. It says behemoth Yisrael. Well, masu avdecham. What's the opposite case? The animal belongs to Yisrael. And the package of Vodikov, and they're working it says Azov Tazov. You should go ahead and help him. Ibatina, if we're talking about loading, am I Azov Tazov, right? I should not. Why do I have to go ahead and help the guy go ahead and load up his package? The Gemara says Mishum Tsar the Yisrael, because the Tsar of the Yisrael, in other words, he's just sitting there waiting. He wants it to be loaded, so therefore to go ahead and help him out. So the Gemara says Yihachi, I feel the Reisha, even the Reisha should be required to help it. So it says Reisha. So over there, that the donkey driver is in the case in the Reisha when the animal belonged to the guy. It was the driver was a guy, and when the animals belonged to Yisrael, then it was b'chama when the donkey driver was Yisrael. So my pasuk. So what kind of pasuk is that? Knows how could you give a din from this brisa if each scenario is different based upon the fact of who the donkey driver was? Like the halachas doesn't seem to to be based upon that. So our answer is no, because some of the most English basar chamriyazah. No, because really, who's the one who's standing idly by? It's the owner of the donkey or the animal. He's the one who has the driver. So therefore, in the case of the animals owned by a guy, it's a guy there. Therefore, we don't care if he stands idly by. If the owner is a Jew, right? If the animal's owned by Yisrael, then the driver is going to be a Yisrael. But over there, it says over there, the psukim of Chadalta, and you have to go ahead and help him, is referring to unloading, not loading. So Ella Hamani Rabbi Yosef he's Rabbi Yosef Damar Tzabal Chaim Lav Deraisa. It must be this. Okay, we're talking about unloading, and therefore, even if it's owned by a guy, you don't have to because he holds not Deraisa, and therefore, since it's mammon of the company, you don't have to go ahead and do it. So Tashba, two more quick cases. Oyev Lifroik. Let's say someone he likes is he needs help to be unloaded. The Sani Litone, and someone he hates, he needs help going ahead and loading. Mitzvah b'sayni. The mitzvah is b'sayni. K'dei lochel b'sayni in order to overcome who he hates. I understand. So even though I should overcome my Yetzer Hara and help the person to load up something, even though I hate him, but Lamaisa, the other animal, is suffering of my friend. I should go ahead and help my friend. So where's the Filachi? Could they leave lachava yisrael? No, to overcome your yetzer, that's even still greater than perhaps it's harbalechai. And Tashma, finally come and listen. Sone Yisrael Sha'amru, that which you say, excuse me, Sone Sha'amru, Sone Yisrael is referring to a Jew. The Sone Veloy Sone Avchaim, it means the person you hate, your enemy, doesn't necessarily mean a guy, it means even of a Jew. And Iyamar Tzabalechaim Doraisa, Mali Sone Yisrael, Mali Sone Avchaim. But if it's Tzabalechaim, who cares? If it's the Jew or not, it's Tzabalechaim. So Gemara says, Misar as a Sone to Krakai. Who says we're talking about the Sony of the Pasuk, which talks about unloading? We're talking about Sony the Masnisin. We're talking about the Sony referring to the Brightsa, where it says of there, and that is referring to loading and unloading. All right, we'll stop here. Tashma. Everyone have a wonderful day. What time is it? 40.